On one side of the field today in Bloomington, Indiana, you had a team and a bunch of players with championship rings, championship memories, but those in the rearview mirror of 2023. On the other side of the field, you had a team living in the here and now with championship aspirations for right now. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis based on your participation. Please leave those comments and questions down below. Lock it in. Like and subscribe. You'll be glad you did. Turn on the bell for the notifications to know when we go live and post new content, because we are going to go through all the championship scenarios across college football again this week. Indiana 20, Michigan 15. If you've been watching college football for a long time, you know how rare that is to have an IU number on the scoreboard that's higher than the Michigan number. Michigan came into this game leading the all-time series 62-10, and besides a COVID year 2020 loss in Bloomington in front of basically no one, we watched that game on TV. Therefore, we know that it happened, but barely anyone witnessed it in person. That Michigan, otherwise 27 consecutive wins going back to 1987 against Indiana, but not on this day. The Hoosiers, the better football team, although they would get challenged by a champion's heart. Kenneth Grant, one of those champions for Michigan, bats down a third down pass on the first drive of the game, gives Michigan the ball, a 3-and-out for Indiana. Giovanni El Haddad, one of Michigan's offensive linemen, had to leave the ball game early. Hopefully he's okay. Tyler Morris with an exceptional catch along the sideline in NFL, tiptoe with two toes on different feet, and then also the catch was remarkable. It was reviewed and upheld, first and goal for Michigan, but the Maize and Blue went with Alex Orji to come into the game, messed around with him, and then Davis Warren on third down, and he got sacked, and they kicked a long field goal after, again, first and goal at the 6. Tyler Morris, 3 catches, 36 yards. Colston Loveland, it was mentioned during the broadcast, came into this game with more receptions and more yardage than the entire wide receiver core at Michigan. Not on this day, 4 catches, 37 yards, most of those in the first half, when they, again, Michigan trying to get Colston Loveland in the game early and often, and that's the way to do it. Indiana treated him like a wide receiver when he was split out wide. That was their game plan explained to us on the TV broadcast. Mike Shanahan leading that Indiana offense that has been on overdrive the entire season. No weeks off, no bad games, no letdowns, full drive all the time, and definitely in the first half of this game. 17 of 28, 206 yards for Curtis Rourke. Pitch and catch type stuff in the first half and keeping the Michigan defense off balance. Elijah Surratt beat Jair Hill to the end zone. 36 yards right over the top. Beautifully placed pass by Rourke. And at that point, we had a 14-3 Indiana lead. 36-yard reception and touchdown. Cooper scored the first one for Indiana, and the Hoosiers offense in the first 3 or 4 drives after the initial Kenneth Grant play was humming at that point. Terry Jones forced a fumble at midfield with Alex Orji at quarterback. The 2 linebackers knew he was going to run the ball right up the middle, because that's basically what he does, is he fakes to the running back, and it's the read option, and Orji almost always keeps it. He did again. He got popped. Fumbles at midfield. Indiana in control at the break at 17-3, scoring 3 consecutive drives there, and again 17 consecutive points. But Michigan got back into it thanks to the defense, not the offense, of course. Zeke Berry with a pick, a play in which he got in front of the receiver, stood his ground, jumped the route, and picked off the pass inside the 8-yard line. As Sharon Moore said after the game, we had a first and goal at the 7, we had a first and goal at the 6. We couldn't score. Just a field goal and turned it over once on downs and could not get it into the end zone. Couldn't get it in on this one. Michigan's run game on this day, 34 carries, 69 yards. Of course, that includes sacks. 28 for 40 for Indiana. They could not run it either. Neither team mounted offense. Indiana, all theirs in the first half. 246 for Indiana, 206 for Michigan for the game. Listen to this, though. This is how Michigan got back in it from 17-3 down to make it a 17-15 game once they finally scored a touchdown. Not that they really drove the ball. They had a 34-yard touchdown drive because Indiana was stopped at its own 9, and then they punted a woeful 25-yard punt that set up Michigan at the 34-yard touchdown drive, and they missed on the 2-point play to try to tie the game. And in the second half, as Michigan was coming back to get to the brink of taking over this game, Indiana ran 25 plays in the second half for 18 yards. So this was not a Michigan or a Indiana walkover like the point spread would indicate at 14.5. And I saw a lot of people that thought Indiana was just going to roll in this game. No. But Michigan could never throw the ball over the top. They can't stretch the field. They don't try to stretch the field if there's any downfield passing. We mentioned the Tyler Morris play inside the 10-yard line. Of course, Colston Loveland gets downfield, but on this day, only 9 yards per catch. So nothing over the top, never challenged them. Indiana's cornerbacks sit on the routes, and it's a typical Michigan effort on both the offensive side and the defensive side, but it results in a hard-fought loss for the Maize and Blue. They're 5-5. They've got Northwestern coming up in 2 weeks, and then they go to Columbus to take on Ohio State. Speaking of which, the actual bigger game that's going to be played in Columbus is in 2 weeks, with Indiana going to Ohio State after a bye week. So the Buckeyes have to play Northwestern next week. Indiana at 10-0. Goes to Ohio State in 2 weeks. So automatic huge game there. The Hoosiers have ensured that they're going to play the Ohio State Buckeyes in a top 5 matchup. Indiana should be in the top 5 as a 10-0 football team. This is fascinating because Indiana once again has proven that they are for real. Now, did they show some blemishes in this game? Yes. The offense stalled in the second half. They could not extend the lead. They needed to hang on for dear life. They did make a great stop, but again, it's the Michigan offense because Davis Warren, the final drive, went incomplete, and then threw one to Peyton O'Leary, who was stopped 1 yard short of the first down to complete it. Indiana, celebrate Hoosier football. Comments and questions are welcome below. Do they have a shot against Ohio State in 2 weeks? Let us know your final score, what you think about the big matchup coming up in the Big Ten, right here at the Voice of College Football. College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.